The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And the number to reach us live this hour, 800-848-9222. Dominic Carter here with you. Boy, do we have a lot to get to, but it's important that I say something up front, particularly today. If you want political correctness, I'm telling you now that you have the wrong show. Today is a horrible day for law enforcement across the country. You want to know why police officers don't go the extra step? Why we have these animals in terms of the criminals doing the things that they're doing? It's in part because of how we treat our police officers. And if you were an officer, you wouldn't go the extra step either. An ex-NYPD sergeant, New York City folks, hauled away in handcuffs after he learned his fate for that fatal New York City cooler throwing incident. And his union has said that it's one of the darkest days in the profession, and I agree with that entirely. So you had a sergeant in the Bronx that threw a cooler at a young man on a scooter riding, and he happened to be a drug suspect, and he fell and hit his head and died. And so after being found guilty, the judge sentencing him up to 3 to 9 years behind bars. And again, this is one of the darkest days in terms of law enforcement. And so the young man had just been apparently caught selling $20 worth of cocaine to an undercover officer. So all of this happening, right? In terms of the sergeant, while in Charlotte, the man that stabbed that Ukrainian refugee on that Charlotte light rail train, he's been found, he stabbed her in the neck and she died right there. He's been found mentally incompetent to stand trial. A psychiatric evaluation deemed him incapable of proceeding. Surprise, surprise, surprise. The feds still have their mental process to go through with this individual in Charlotte, but on a state level, mentally incompetent, which means there's a good chance the same thing will happen on the federal level. This is all wrong. It's all screwed up. But here's what's right. A poll out showing a majority of voters in New York City believe New York City is on the wrong track under Mamdani. No, really? Let's start with the Charlotte situation, and I'll backtrack to the injustice for the NYPD and law enforcement all across this country on this day. This is from Channel 2 in Charlotte.
New at 4 o'clock, the man accused of killing Irina Zarutska is deemed mentally incompetent to stand trial. Police charged DeCarlos Brown with killing the Ukrainian refugee in August on the Charlotte light rail. Brown faces both state and federal charges, facing the possibility of the death penalty. With competency now in question, no trial date has been set just yet.
And so he's mentally incompetent, right, to stand trial. And yet an NYPD sergeant led away in handcuffs. And what's happening to this sergeant, again, if you want political correctness, you got the wrong show today. Because what's happening to this NYPD sergeant, can you say Derek Chauvin all over again? Being railroaded. That's what happened today when the judge handed down his sentence. The young man's mother in the courtroom, as I just said in news headlines, where was mommy when he was selling drugs? And you see, nobody wants to be honest. He was selling drugs. Do you think that that's going to go on to be a productive citizen in society? I don't think so. It's still not a reason for someone to lose their life. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's right for someone to lose their life, but this guy was a drug dealer. And right now, we've got an NYPD sergeant, former officer, in jail processing as we speak. As we speak. Going to your telephone calls in just 1 second. Dominic Carter here with you. But let's turn to Fox News. Again, the situation of the young lady in Charlotte, right? So that guy is mentally incompetent. The system works for these criminals. It works for these savages, but it doesn't work for law enforcement. And then we don't understand why crime is out of control. So the sergeant, what if this guy on the motor scooter had hit one of the other officers, as he testified to on the stand that he was concerned that it would hit another officer? Rule 101 in these trials, officers don't testify. This sergeant testified. That says to me that he believed that he did nothing wrong. And as far as I'm concerned, and remember, folks, I'm not some Johnny come lately to these types of cases. I'm the type of guy for 40 years that the other side, the community, turned to in alleged police brutality cases. The mothers of these alleged victims. I'm the guy that they turn to. And I'm telling you now that this thing stinks. A drug dealer, now, granted, you shouldn't lose your life, but he chose to try and escape on that motor scooter. Again, but I see all your calls. We're about to begin with them. Fox News on the young lady in Charlotte that lost her life on that train, stabbed in her neck. I already told you, if you want political correctness, I'm not the one today. Black suspect, she's white. You think that's going to help race relations? It seems to be a common occurrence these days. And so we have him mentally incompetent, running game, and we have a situation where they tried to put up a mural in Providence, Rhode Island of this young lady, and the Democrat mayor said, no, no, no. This from Fox News.
Fox News alert, you won't believe this. The Democrat mayor of Providence, Rhode Island has a bizarre, infuriating request. He is demanding that this mural that you're looking at, a beautiful image of 23-year-old Irina Zarutska, be wiped away. I'm sure you remember her story. She was the young Ukrainian refugee who boarded the light rail train in Charlotte, North Carolina in August of last year after working at a pizzeria. She sat down in front of DeCarlos Brown, a career criminal with charges dating back to 2007. 4 minutes later, Brown pulled out a pocket knife, stabbed Irina 3 times, brutally killing this innocent young woman. Now, over in Providence, Rhode Island, a bar commissioned a mural, a beautiful picture honoring Irina. But less than 8 months after her tragic and avoidable death, that mural went up, and the city's Democratic mayor, Brett Smiley, said it does not represent the city's values. Quote, there is nothing we should be doing to take away from this tragedy, but it was distorted by an erroneous tweet by the president and funded by right-wing billionaires. So honoring a victim of violent crime doesn't align with the city's values, apparently. But this mural celebrating the LGBTQ community does.
You know what doesn't align with the values of voters? The position taken by the Democrat mayor in Providence, Rhode Island, that made sure that that mural was removed. You know what doesn't align with the values of Americans? The mayor in Charlotte, North Carolina, she was the one that tried to bury this case to begin with. And it was almost buried of what happened to that woman in Charlotte. Let's now switch to Mom Donnie. A majority of voters say New York City is on the wrong track under Mamdani. Really? No. Wrong track under Mamdani? As he hits his first 100 days in office, a poll from Emerson College, PIX TV, found that 59% of New Yorkers overall believe the city is on the wrong track. Only 41% believe it's headed in the right direction. And that 41%, those are the free that have been fooled and they're still waiting for something. And guess what? The numbers have been fueled by discontent among Hispanic, Black, and Asian voters. So in other words, some of them are starting to realize they have been had. This is Mamdani's approval rating is at 48%. And here's what he had to say.
I will always leave the greats to New Yorkers themselves. What I will say is that we are coming to the end of 100 days in office, and we have sought to make this period one where we provide New Yorkers with a glimpse as to what these next 4 years will look like. We've looked to be ambitious, unrelenting, and move at the same speed as New Yorkers do. And so when I stand here alongside our commissioner, our deputy mayor, we do so acknowledging the $9.3 million we've won in settlements, the more than 6,000 apartments that are currently being repaired as part of the more than $30 million we've won from bad landlords in the city, the $1.2 billion we've won in partnership with the governor to deliver universal child care in this city, and doing all of this while we also fill in more than 100,000 potholes in the city. And I will end by quoting the poet Pitbull, because after DOT has finished those 100,000 potholes, they are now going to pave more than 1,000 miles of road, which Pitbull would describe accurately as the distance from New York City to Miami.
Oh, isn't he just clever? Isn't the mayor just wonderful? Let's start with your telephone calls. Let's begin with Fran, line 5, Massapequa. Fran, what's on your mind?
How we doing, brother? I thought he was going to say, I don't know if you saw Pitbull in concert, but he has said that if you don't like America, get the F out. I don't know if you've seen that, so maybe he should quote that. You know what I mean? He's put a quote.
I agree
He's a
with
moron.
you.
He's an absolute moron, and my call is this. I mean, normal people like me and you, with common sense, we got to sit back, you know what I mean, and watch this for 4 years, how these people on God's green earth voted this guy in. It's almost, I almost sit back and I say, you get what you deserve. It's just unbelievable how half of the country thinks that the Democrats are on, that they have the answer, they're the right direction. It's absolutely lunacy. I have a school teacher lives down the block from me. The guy swears up and down liberal. He forget about it. He'll start a war with you. I know girls. It's unbelievable. So are you telling me that 40 to 45% of the country is completely lost their mind? Or is it us, Dominic? I mean, it's
not us. It's not us at all. It's the matter of free, and they're going for it. It's as simple as that. I apologize for the audio feedback here as we're trying to correct this, but they are going for it, Fran. And it's simply horrible, absolutely horrible. So what we're going to do at this point is take a break, and we are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And we are back. Let's return to your telephone calls. Let me say this, folks, if you're trying to get through, just wait a minute or two and hit redial, and perhaps one of the lines will be clear by then. Let's go to line 3, Paul in the Bronx. Paul, what's on your mind?
It reminds me of the Bronx Sergeant. I agree with everything you say. It reminds me of Twisted Justice at CNN.com.
Right. I hope your mommy's proud of you. You really are especially challenged. You about, 60 years old? And I think you're still in your mother's basement. Mommy, did you make food for me yet? Can I have some cookies, Mommy? I used a term that I shouldn't have used, and I would never dignify you again with that. But you are an absolute loser and a straight-up Looney Tune. And you know what? If you wouldn't hang up, is he still there? Because I really he's still there? Okay, you got the floor, clown. What's the point? Why do you keep doing this?
Because you're supporting Janine Pirro, who sent an innocent New York City cop.
Okay, Janine Pirro, duh. She's the U.S. attorney for Washington, right? So you mean to tell me the entire world is wrong and you're the only one that's right, even though she had to go through Washington and all that confirmation process. So you're the only one that's right and everybody else in the world is wrong. Is that what you're telling me?
No, there's plenty of New York City cops that support Richard DeGuglielmo. Look at Twisted Justice at CNN.com. He's an innocent cop. Okay,
wait. I'm trying to have a conversation with you, clown. You don't have to keep repeating that. The people got it the first time. All right? Do you think Janine Pirro is thinking about you?
Check out Jeffrey Deskovich.
Answer my question. Do you think Janine Pirro, did mommy give you your cookie and milk yet and your lunch? Do you think Janine Pirro's thinking about you? What is wrong with you?
Her husband was sitting in federal.
Do you get your rock? Don't tell me about her husband. I know her ex-husband very well. There's nothing you can tell me. Do you get your rocks off doing this? Is that what this is about?
No, I'm trying to expose the truth. How she said.
Oh, and you think, and as nutty as you sound, you think anybody in their right mind is listening to you? Or do you think they're saying this dude is absolutely batty, straight up nuts? Which one do you think it is? You would do better. You would do better if you want to have a conversation by talking to me man to man. Stop acting like a coward, calling up like a little girl, doing what you're doing. Why do you do that?
Then talk to me, Dominic. You want to talk?
I'm trying to talk to you, but you call up. Did mommy finish feeding you lunch yet? You call up listen, because you want to lock on to Janine Pirro. I don't want to lock on to, so you didn't answer my question. So you're the only one that's right, and the entire world is wrong about Janine Pirro, even though she's gone on to be a U.S. attorney. You're the only one that's right.
Read the Janine Machine by Richard
No. Answer the question. Listen, I'm giving you the airtime. You want to be a star? I'm giving you the airtime. Answer the question. So you're the only one that's correct with your assessment, and the entire world is wrong with Janine Pirro, even though she's the U.S. attorney for Washington now. You're the only one that's got this right. I want to make sure I understand this.
I'm a conservative party member, and she's not doing well down there because her case.
Okay, no. But why won't you answer my question? You're the only one that's got this right, and the whole world has got this wrong, correct?
It's ridiculous, Dominic, your question. Twisted justice.
Right. You know what, friend? Let mommy pat you on the head. You about, 65, 70? You still living in her basement, and she's still telling you that you're going to be somebody one day. But guess what? You're not, because you are bat-ass crazy. It's as simple as that. Carlos, I hope you didn't have to beat that out. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show. Entertaining and informative. On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My motto is simple. If you do not succeed in life, I don't want you to blame your parents. I don't want you to blame the white man. I want you to blame yourselves. The responsibility is yours.
And, of course, that's Morgan Freeman from the movie Lean On Me. I think the year was 1989. I'll be focusing on that a bit later on tonight. In terms of personal responsibility, accountability, you just heard him. He was talking to the students at the high school, and he turned around the high school. So we have a situation right now where you might as well say that this is another railroading of a police officer. This time it happens to be New York City, a sergeant. The sergeant convicted of throwing the water cooler at a drug suspect. The drug suspect fell, hit his head on the sidewalk, and died, right? Now, according to authorities, this Boy Scout had just sold $20 worth of crack or drugs to a police undercover. And we want to blame the good guy and act like this guy was the second coming of Nelson Mandela. I'm sorry that the young man lost his life. But, Mommy, you were in court today. Ka-ching! You're already cashing that check from the lawsuit, the civil lawsuit to come, right? But in the process, Mommy, I hope you can sleep with yourself. Because you and your family and your supporters, you have ruined a good man's life. Can we say Derek Chauvin too? George Floyd and so on? You know, folks, we can't just tell half the story. You can't just go, The young man, the poor innocent boy, was riding the motorcycle scooter, and he just fell, and because the big bad cop threw the water cooler at him, and he hit his head on the sidewalk and died. Well, bad things happen to people that evade the police. That's the truth. Okay? I'm sorry. This is a miscarriage of justice. This sergeant is in jail being processed right now. He didn't even get to leave the courthouse for his case on appeal, put in handcuffs immediately as he was sentenced to 3 to 9 years. And for what? For what? Dominic, what's the diplomatic way that you can say this? Okay, the drug suspect. Do you really think his life was going to amount to anything? Oh, we're going to pretend that he was going to be a Rhodes Scholar and go on to Harvard University and give up drug dealing. I don't think so. I don't think so. And then we have the situation in Charlotte with that woman minding her business on the light rail train. And the suspect comes up behind her, long rap sheet, slaughters her. She dies right there. And she was from Ukraine. She had avoided war in Ukraine to come here and die and be slaughtered. Who can forget that look that she looked up and looked in his face as he stood there after he had just stabbed her? She slowly sunk into the seat and died seconds later, right then and there. This is the world that we live in. The good guys become the bad guys. The bad guys become heroes. George Floyd, this kid in the Bronx, oh, he was an angel. He was only selling $20 worth of drugs to the undercover. That's all. So, Mommy, instead of being in the courtroom, as the officer was sentenced, maybe you should have been at an open school night. Maybe you should have did a better job raising your son. And none of us would be in this situation. Let's go back to your telephone calls. Ann, line 2 in Connecticut. Ann, what's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. I'm getting feedback for some reason from but anyway, is there anything that we can do? I think the majority of Americans feel for the sergeant. What could we do for him?
Well, I don't know. You can contact the Sergeant's Benevolent Association, and they could tell you, his union, they could tell you directly what you can do. I'm sure there's some type of fund to help him with his legal bills, even though the SBA covers it. But I'm sure his family, is going to need a lot of help. And it's very nice of you to offer to help, because it really is becoming very, very frustrating in terms of what's going on. And, I guess I'm supposed to do the diplomatic thing, and I'm supposed to say, oh, this young man, it's so horrible what happened to him. I don't want to see anybody lose their life. But when you got on that scooter trying to avoid the police, things happen. So was he just supposed to let you drive that scooter, which then becomes a deadly vehicle, into one of the officers? He did what he had to do. It's unfortunate you fell on the ground and cracked your head wide open and never recovered from that. That's unfortunate. But I point more to your mother than I do to anybody else. Let's see here. Let's go to Juan in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Juan, what's on your mind?
I know you got a lot of callers, so I'll be quick. Hey, he died of natural causes, because if you sell drugs and you want to break the law, that's natural causes. Okay? That's like anything else. And you stole my thunder. Derek Chauvin is in prison for no reason. Okay? This is like everything else. We are in a state of war right now. We got 300 murders in Philadelphia, 250 in New York, Chicago, 300 murders. No protest about that. But right. Pretty good and all these other people, this protest. Okay? Right. How about protesting this cop goes out and risks his life for us?
Every day.
And you're going to throw him in jail?
No, not throw him in jail as we speak, and not coming out.
Yes. Guess what? Let me ask you something. Let me ask you this question. So you tell me we got that guy out in Long Island who was a serial killer and all this other shit, and the other guy that's in Charlotte that's mentally ill. Well, Herman's mentally ill too. So why are they trying him? So let's not try anybody that kills people and just say they're all mentally ill.
Right, but and you know what? Hey, Juan, I mean, you know, I hate to be the devil's advocate, but do we really think that the guy in Charlotte is mentally incapacitated? I don't think so. It's called gaming. It's called pimping 101. And it's horrible. Because I really believe this, Juan, and thank you for the great call. I really believe this. To those that say that they're mentally incompetent, well, we're not going to let the alligator eat you, but let's put them in a room with an alligator and let's see how they react. If they scream and go to get out that room, then you know they can participate in their own trial. If they go to try and pet the alligator, then you know there's something really wrong with them. Let's go to Angie, line 2. Teacher, I believe Angie's the teacher, correct? And from Long Island. Angie, what's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. I am the teacher.
Hi, Angie.
I can't even believe. Hi, sweetheart. He was competent enough when he walked away from that beautiful young girl to say, I got that white B. That's what he said when he walked away from her.
Right, but
so
he's mentally ill.
About him
right.
Then.
Right. You know what, Angie? I didn't even want to go there, but I'm glad you did. I'm glad somebody else said it today because I don't want to be the one to always say it, right? What I didn't say is, okay, he's mentally incompetent, right? So he walked past like 3 black people and didn't stab any one of them, but stabbed the first white person that he found. And we're supposed to believe that he can't stand trial. With a straight face, they want us to believe that. Go ahead, Angie.
He knew enough to take off the red sweatshirt so he didn't get caught.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Just a bunch of you-know-what. And as far as Mondami goes, his game is divide and conquer. If you think about it, he's trying to divide blacks, whites, and conquer. That's his game.
Well, I hope he enjoys this ride, and maybe Jay-Z will be on the phone to call him with a recording contract because, Mamdani, this is your 15 minutes, and homeboy, you better enjoy it because when the voters of New York, I don't care what about the power of incumbency. Yes, it's Angie. It's very hard to beat an incumbent, and Mamdani will be running as an incumbent. But when your 3 years and a half are over, Mamdani, bye-bye, you will not be reelected. So whatever socialist agenda, whatever plan that you're carrying out, I strongly suggest that you do it now. But to Angie's point, and Angie, thank you for the wonderful call. But to Angie's point, we see you. You think that you're dividing people, but we see the game that you are running, and it's not a nice game. You know, you're doing all these studies and so on. Why don't you do a study about the silver spoon that's been in your mouth your entire life? You say you're down with the people, right, Mamdani? You're among the masses, right? Well, why don't you ever talk about that silver spoon that pops out of your mouth with the privileged life that you've had with mommy and daddy, with your dad that hates Israel and your wife? I don't even want to get started on her. Notice he still hasn't answered for his wife's tweets, comments, or anything, while she gets a police escort and lives in a taxpayer-funded mansion. She has used the N-word. She doesn't like Israel. She doesn't like anything to do with Israel, and she is getting away with it. And what does Mamdani say? My wife is not a public person. Wow. Let's see here. Let's go to, in terms of the telephone calls, let's go next to, let's go to John, Long Island. John, what's on your mind?
Dominic, I'm disgusted with the way this country is going right now. We're locking up cops and we're letting killers go to cushy little hospitals to watch movies and eat good food.
I'm glad you said it because that's exactly what's going to happen.
What are we teaching law enforcement now? What are we teaching up-and-coming law enforcement? don't worry about, don't ignore crime, don't do anything, be feckless, do nothing. This guy tried to deploy what he assumed to be non-lethal force, and now he's still 3 to 9 years. What, are you kidding me?
Right. And let's remember, John, not an easy 3 to 9 years. He's got to watch his back at all times. He'll be in solitary confinement probably, or in a unit with, high risk inmates because he's a cop. And once the other inmates find out, there's going to be a mark on his head to try and kill him. Right? And his family has got to deal with this. And why? Because he threw a cooler to stop a alleged drug dealer that had just sold drugs to an undercover and was bold enough to try and get away from the police. And then when he falls and hits his head on the sidewalk, here comes mommy, ka-ching, I'm such a victim, give me my $20 million, this is what I'm entitled to. But mom, the day before, what was your son's life worth? The day before this happened, what was your life worth? For a matter of fact. Oh, 0, but now you entitled to $20 million? Come on. This ain't about her son or justice for her son. This is about ka-ching. It's time to get paid. John, thank you for the call. Let's go here to Joe, line 3 in Orange County. Joe, what's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic, do you think it's too far gone at this point, New York? I mean, nobody came out to vote. Do you think that if Cuomo would have got in, it would have been any different at this point in New York? I just don't think there's enough voters that are common sense voters that are going to come out anymore. I think it's too far gone, maybe.
It is. I'm not going to say it's a lost cause, Joe, but I will say this much. At least, in my opinion, there'd be some respect and decorum in our city if Cuomo had won the election. I don't even want to get started on that. Let's let the past be the past. And it's not because I'm a fan of Cuomo. It's because look at what we're looking at now. We literally have a mayor that comes forward and says, white people, you make too much money. Your median income is $200,000. And then he says, black people, you don't make enough money. Your median income is $20,000. That's divisive. It's polarizing and it's wrong. Time for a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And the Tunnel to Towers Foundation final thoughts of the day. It really saddens me that we've had a miscarriage of justice out of the Bronx. We have a former NYPD sergeant in prison right now. He's being processed. He's been in prison for a couple of hours, starting the process today. Sentenced 3 to 9 years for throwing the cooler at the alleged drug suspect. The Boy Scout fell and hit his head. And mommy shows up in court today because she wants justice. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. You know, it reminds me of one of my favorite movie scenes, right? And maybe you didn't see the movie, but Training Day with Denzel Washington. And in this movie, he's a corrupt cop, and he goes to the community one scene, and he's trying to get back the money, and his partner just left him, and the community sells him out and lets the partner leave, and he's stuck. And he's up against a deadline of midnight to get the money back to the Russian mob, and he's not going to make it. But he says this to the community. And folks, remember, this is just a movie. This is not reflective of police work. But what it says to me is, you're going to hear him say at one point, I'm the police. We've got to get back to those days, folks, or we are all doomed.
All right. I'm putting cases on all you bitches. Huh? You think you can do this? Jay! You think you can do this to me? You mother will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I get finished with you. Shoe program. 23-hour lockdown. I'm the man up in this piece. You'll never see the light of day. Who the you think you with? I'm the police. I run here. You just live here. Yeah, that's right. You better walk away. Go on, walk away, because I'm going to burn this motherfucker down. King Kong ain't got on me.
And the fact of the matter is, folks, things will not go back to normal. You heard what Mr. Washington said there. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. That's the way it's got to be. Somebody's got to keep these animals in check. And it's law enforcement. It's the street crimes unit of the NYPD. Oh, we can't have that violation of the civil rights. You're violating our civil rights. Okay, so look at what we're dealing with now. What happened to the civil rights of that young lady in Charlotte, North Carolina, that was basically gutted out like a pig? What happened to her civil rights? I get it. She's white. I get it. Her civil rights don't count, right? People that pay taxes go to work. Their civil rights don't count, right? I got it. Let's go to Pamela, line 4 in New Jersey. Pamela, what's on your mind?
Come on, cops. You just started your new shift. Go out on strike. I know it's supposed to be a law that they can't go out and strike. Well, too bad. This is an injustice. Get all 30,000 of you. Go out now.
Okay, but Pamela, I feel your pain, right? You're referring to the Taylor law. They're not allowed to go out on strike. But these officers have families, and they know that politicians don't have their back. So they're going to go out on strike and risk their jobs?
Got to do something. I've done brave stuff. I've really done ballsy stuff at my job. Real ballsy. All on my own, while nobody backed me up, but I did the right thing. And I'm proud of myself for doing it. Sometimes you got to do the right thing. I wouldn't want that job anyway. They're throwing this guy in jail for doing a good deed. I wouldn't want the stinking job anyway. I'd rather clean toilets than be a cop in New York City.
Well, that says it all, Pamela. Thank you for the wonderful call. And when I say the wonderful call, folks, there's certain things I can't say on air, but Pamela just articulated exactly where I'm coming from. I just can't say it because remember, this young man, he was a Boy Scout. He was going to go on to be a Rhodes Scholar at Harvard University. I don't think so. Folks, on America's darkest day, 9/11, America vowed to never forget. Help our nation keep that promise. Donate $11 a month and amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, T.org. I will be back live at midnight. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?